Hi everyone, my name is Olga, and in today's video we are discussing Vedic astrology and cryptocurrency. I've been planning to record this video for a while. I'm so happy I'm finally doing this. We are going to dive deep into what is the connection between Vedic astrology and cryptocurrency, how we can use this knowledge for our benefit, and how we can perhaps try to predict the prices fluctuation. If you're new to this channel, do subscribe below. On this channel, we talk about spirituality, meditations, Vedic astrology, and sometimes crypto, which happen to be all related. And I will explain why. Let's dive in. First of all, in Vedic astrology, Ketu, the planet of south node of the moon, is what represents crypto. Ketu is a non-physical planet, which means it's a shadow planet, and it's a point of interception of ecliptic of the sun with ecliptic of the moon. And on one side, where these two ecliptics intersect, it creates Rahu, or north node of the moon, and on the other side, it creates Ketu, or south node of the moon. What is Ketu? The origin story of Ketu is as follows. Once there was a demon, Svarbanu, who wanted the nectar of the gods at all costs. So he pretended to be a god. He sat between sun and moon. He drank a little bit of the nectar of immortality. Sun and moon noticed that it was a demon and gave him away to Vishnu, who cut him in half. The body without the head became Ketu. So Ketu represents this idea of being headless, being the tail without the head, the lower part of the demon that became planet Ketu. Crypto essentially is a system without a head. The idea of crypto is that it's a financial system, doesn't have a central authority or government who can control it. Essentially, it's headless. The main idea behind crypto is decentralized finance, which is DeFi for short. So this idea of lack of authority, lack of control, a lack of central head that governs it, that's what makes crypto take on some of the qualities of Ketu. Ketu also represents detachment, and it also represents detachment from material possessions. It's a spirituality, moksha karaka, or represents spirituality and letting go of material possessions. Now, at the same time, crypto is very much contains the value, and it contains material value, but it doesn't have this physical representation. It's essentially software code that contains value, and Ketu represents software. Ketu is planet of unconventional thinkers, technology enthusiasts, people who write software, people who are outsiders, loners, unconventional, and spiritual. Crypto is actually quite unconventional because it puts the control directly in the hands of people and directly in the hands of those who want to bypass the government, bypass control, and bypass somehow the traditional financial system. It is for people who are unconventional in the way they deal with the world and the way they want to deal with the world. So it definitely has that unconventional quality to it. Crypto is also hard to grasp for majority. The widespread adoption is still underway. It's still nowhere near to be fully available to everybody, although it is becoming more and more accessible because of the ETFs. Nevertheless, majority of people still don't quite get it, and remains for a small group of tech enthusiasts, tech people who understand or who have some engineering background, who are not afraid by the technology, basically. And that's why this connection of unconventional thinkers and innovators, which is related to Ketu, there is this correlation as well. Ketu also represents things that are hidden, that are not fully visible. It is a smoky planet that sometimes signifies this idea of being hidden, being in a subtle area, being something that is not very clearly available, not very clearly present. And it represents the idea of anonymity or hiding. And the origins of crypto, of course, are related to Satoshi Nakamoto, where nobody knows who that is. This he remains largely to be unknown. The creator of Bitcoin, who early on published the white paper of Bitcoin and helped it to popularize back in the day, nobody really knows who that is. And this idea of anonymity and that you can transact more or less anonymously if you're using, certain technology the right way, this idea of anonymity is definitely present in crypto as well. So Ketu represents things that are hidden, and the idea you can hide behind basically a piece of code, what attracts a lot of people to crypto. But it's also this idea of personal independence and going your own way, going against the majority and being on your own, like being independent, is what also are the significations of Ketu that are closely related to crypto. Another thing that I noticed, the correlation between Ketu and crypto, is that crypto world in general is very, very sensitive to eclipses. This sensitivity to eclipses is something that I was fascinated when I noticed on, because we have eclipses that come every year at a very predictable schedule of every 6 months. We have 2 sets of eclipses, sometimes more than that. And because it is considered in Vedic thought that during eclipses, corridors or 2 weeks leading to the eclipses, that's when Ketu and Rahu, the demon planets, the shadow planets, they come out of the shadows and they basically swallow the sun and the moon and become present in our lives. That's why usually the time between eclipses and leading towards eclipses is considered like tumultuous and challenging and sometimes harder to navigate. However, it's the time for deep spiritual work. Now, with the crypto world, I've noticed an extreme volatility when it comes to time of the eclipses. Things that, like jarring events that influencing masses, usually often happen on eclipses. For example, Terra Luna collapse happened on an eclipse. FTX exchange collapse happened on the eclipse as well. Billions, millions for sure, I'm not sure if billions, but a lot of money have been wiped out from crypto market in the span of 1 week. The whole SBF thing is very, very much related to eclipses. There is a number of other events that I've been observing and I'm still in the process of it, and I'll be sharing it as much as I find something and discover something on my social media channels. Now, so how can we use this knowledge in order for our benefit? Well, first of all, expect a higher volatility during eclipses. Know when eclipses are happening and plan accordingly. Rahu, which is very closely related to Ketu, is the north node of the moon. And it all relates to this idea of a gambler mentality, of somebody who has, it's the head without the body. It's the opposite side of the Ketu. But at the same time, they're always opposite of each other and they're very, very closely related and connected. So there is definitely a Rahu side to crypto as well, where people come with gambler mentality of wanting to win, putting in a little bit of money and going out with the millions. This idea of, being of deception is very much present in crypto, rug pulls and scams and wallet drains is just everyday reality in crypto. These are all things that are related to Rahu. Now, because Rahu and Ketu, they activate or become seen at the time of the eclipses, this is a time where particularly you should exercise more vigilance, and this is the time where rug pulls and, all the people who are trying to steal your money activate as well. So definitely at the time of eclipses, be very, very watchful which links you click and just exercise caution and regular crypto security things with utmost attention as much as possible. Because this is when a lot of intense events and people losing money during these times. And also because central exchanges, they are also so sensitive to the time of eclipses, things happening on central exchanges all the time. Perhaps if you have a lot of funds there, maybe it's a safer time to offload it, or basically, practicing this idea of maybe laying low during the time of eclipses and not going in with not putting too much money on the table, or not buying some obscure coin, and kind of, because bear in mind that during the eclipses your mind is more shadowed. It's like more the greed and desire to win quickly, like get rich quick schemes are kind of like more prevalent, and we have a little less mindfulness and a little less ability to withstand those addictions and those desires. So during the eclipses, keep that in mind. Recording this in September of 2024, we have eclipses coming up in just a few days on September 17th and then October 2nd. So be vigilant for the next couple of weeks. Volatility, it's another thing that I briefly already mentioned, but I will mention it again, that Ketu is a highly volatile planet. It's one of the harder planets to when it comes to talking about planetary periods, because it can give you very unexpected results depending on the quality of it in your chart specifically. But just like Ketu, crypto is very volatile asset. It has the biggest return on investment. It's the fastest growing asset, but also crypto goes down 99% all the time. So it definitely teaches you certain detachment, which is Ketu, and teaches you the idea of letting go. Very important when you deal with crypto. Let's look at the chart of Ethereum, which is the second largest cryptocurrency created by Vitalik Buterin. Now that we talked about astrology and Vedic astrology and connection of Ketu and south node of the moon, let's go into something completely different. Let's look at the chart of Ethereum, which is the second largest coin in cryptocurrency, second largest cryptocurrency created by Vitalik Buterin. We'll look at the chart in terms of periods and transits. We will make some predictions based on that, what's going to happen with the price of the Ethereum. So let's dive in. Essentially, to build the birth chart of Ethereum, we're going to have to look at the Genesis block of Ethereum, which is, in this case, is July 30th, 2015 at 3:26 13 UTC time. So essentially, this is a Scorpio rising with Saturn on ascendant. And if we look at the periods and transits, how it's affecting the chart currently, we'll see that right now Ethereum is going through Moon and Saturn period. Now, Moon is a good period for this chart. I think Mahadasha of Moon is going to be really strong. Overall, it has good promises because it's the ruler of the ninth placed in the third, and it has so many aspects on it, like 5 planets aspect of it. So if you can see, the Moon is aspects its own sign, which makes the ninth house of fortune, good luck, and opportunities very strong. The moon itself is positioned in Uttara Ashada Nakshatra, which means unstoppable victory or later victory. Gives this idea of, for Ethereum project as a whole, is ability to overcome any obstacles, or ability to overcome and come out as a victor in the end. Although it's aspected by Saturn and it's placed in the Saturnine sign, this is a type of a project that's very solid. I mean, if you know anything about Ethereum, you know that it's the foundation for a lot of other technologies that exist in crypto to this day. And that is shown by this strong moon and in Capricorn, which is also Vargotama moon, which means in Navamsha, it's in the same sign. Super strong period. I think overall, if you look at the all upcoming periods, the Mahadasha of the moon, all the way to 2029, which is going to be this Mahadasha, Ethereum will do really well. Now, the 2029 rolls in, which is not too far away actually, but this is going to bring some instability to the project. The stability is going to be challenged, and I suspect this Mars period is going to be a challenging one, and it might be a very difficult it might cease to exist in its in the form and shape that we know it today, and it might be a challenging one for stability of it. Something is going to be going on. It looks pretty challenging because it's in the eighth house of sudden events, of changes and transformation. Perhaps it's going to evolve and change into something else, and Ethereum, as we know, will not exist anymore, and maybe it will like give birth to something else. But the idea that for the next at least 5 years, I think Ethereum will do really well. Now, this long period of moon is broken down into sub-periods, and specifically, right now we are in the moon Saturn sub-period. Now, although Saturn is placed in the first house, it's actually in the Navamsha. So let's go one by one. Saturn placed in the fourth house, major period for Ethereum to become the leader, to become the main project. And it's been going on since May of 2023. Of course, the Ethereum ETF came around in June of 2023 or 2024. And it started trading in July, right? So, but now Saturn is a retrograde planet, so it doesn't go in a straight line. So it doesn't go, it's gonna give like, I don't suspect it's gonna give too much rise over price while we're in it. So just to cut the chase and say it right away, I don't think Ethereum is gonna do much until December. Saturn is placed in the 12th house of losses and uncertainty, of maybe some hidden things that we don't know about in the Navamsha chart. It's 12th house of secrets, and perhaps something is going on under the cover. We just don't know about it, but this is what's happening. Now, when Moon and Mercury, Moon-Mercury cycle is going to be very, very interesting. This is, I suspect, when Ethereum price will start moving dramatically, like really fast. You might see some movements already end of November, but once the December starts and once we enter this, let's see, moon, I just lost it. Yeah, so in the end of September, we're gonna go into Moon, Saturn, Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is an interesting one. We're going to see maybe some positive movements, but it's not going to be dramatic, starting with September 23rd and onward for the next following few days, like through October and November. I suspect the price will drastically move starting in December. Why is that? Well, Moon Mercury cycle will activate the ninth house of this chart. Mercury is placed in the ninth house, aspected by the ruler of the ninth, and it's the ruler of 11th. What does it mean? It creates a major dana yoga, or yoga of wealth. And when we look at the project, a technical project that has a dana yoga, which means it's going to be prosperous, it's going to generate money, it's going to increase in price. What's really important about this Mercury, it's also called a yogi point, which is a special point in financial astrology that we astrologers use to look for money planets in the chart. Every single chart has a yogi point somewhere in the horoscope. And for this particular chart, Mercury happens to be the yogi planet. And also, if you look at the Navamsha chart, which is a secondary chart for any chart we know, Moon is ruler of the first and the 10th, placed in the fifth. That creates already a connection to Dana Yoga with ruler of 11th conjunct in the fifth. Now, fifth house is the house of investments, of increase in price on investment, or investment actually basically like giving a return, the price increasing. So this looks really, really good all the way through the entire Moon Mercury cycle, which will be all the way until Moon Ketu, which will begin in May of 2026. So Moon Ketu is going to be very, very non-auspicious, I suspect, a really dreadful period for this project, because I think that Ketu is placed in Uttarabhadra. Well, it's in the fifth house. Yeah, it's just not a very money, it's not a money planet for this chart. And yeah, another thing about this moon, it's actually this moon is a duplicate, which is another money planet, and Yogi Mercury is a money planet. So we are entering in December a period of two major money planets for this chart. We're going to have ups and downs. And I think maybe the first, it will be interesting to observe what the price does towards from this February 21st of next year through 23rd of March. I suspect we might have a
correction during that month, in the beginning of March. Mercury, Venus, Moon, Mercury, Venus is most likely is going to be really good. So March, April, May, and June. Sun is good, Moon is good. Mars is challenging. So I think Mars is going to give us some challenges to it for Ethereum, but then it's gonna go up again in 24th of September. After the 24th of September, because Rahu, it activates 11th house of gains, of public popularity, of social media, of public popularity, of public acceptance, of kind of like craze, social craze about this and coin. So I think Moon, Mercury, Rahu, September, October, November is going to be good. Maybe all the way through and December is going to be slightly different, but nevertheless might still be good. And then it's going to start fading in February of 2026 and be completely gone by May of 2026. Now, none of this is a financial advice. It will be interesting to go back to this video and revisit and see if how these predictions were correct or wrong. But this is what I'm seeing. I hope you can use it to the best of your ability, and hope it benefits every one of us. And that was Olga with Vedic astrology predictions for Ethereum price. I'll see you later.